edition of Woodsy's Picks coming to you once again from the Lancaster
Funny
Tap
the
House.
second time.
Yeah, I know.
And yeah, here we are with members of Lancaster Council as usual. Two members that were here last week are no longer here because, quite frankly, they were brutal. The mayor, Darren Wilcox, was 2-2. He's out. Stats man, Donny Reddy, he was 2-2. He's out. We hold ourselves to a higher standard here.
Double doink.
Double doink.
Double doink.
I think 2-2 is a pretty good week for
Yeah,
Darren.
it's not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty
But
good.
you know what? We brought in Mike Lee, Minister of Energy, once again. His success rate is about 75%. So we thought we'd raise the bar. Stacey Cattell, our council director from the Regina Patsy, is also here, going at a 72% rate. And our Minister of Ways and Means, Tim Rogers from the Lancaster Tap House, is here. Now your record, it seems to be missing here.
Jeez.
I think I was a last minute scratch.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're last minute.
You've been punted a few times.
He just
off
happened
the
not put
practice
his
roster.
numbers in
Yeah.
here. Anyway, we're happy you could be with us as we go over what happened first of all last week and look ahead to this week's action in the CFL. Let's go back to the Banjo Bowl first of all, gents. And to me, I expected the Riders would lose that game. I didn't expect that they were going to get blown out, but quite frankly, I think the Bombers just came out angry, more determined, and the Riders really couldn't match that.
No, they really, there was a lot of energy missing, right? And especially with all the players that Winnipeg had out in the offense, I would have thought a better. Even if Winnipeg would have won, I thought it was, they're going to win one of those, 13-10 games or something like that. I wasn't expecting it to be that lopsided. Not with that many players they have out.
It just seemed to me, Stacey, that the Riders seemed okay. We got our split in the Labor Day Classic. It was a hard-fought game, mind you, but there was that excitement, and they let down a little. It's almost like they went in there. Well, we got the split. We're good.
Well, the one thing there, I think everybody talked about. I even think on the green zone, Drew Remender was talking about everybody's played in loud stadiums. That's not a factor in the game. Well, it was a factor in the game. That first drive, the Riders took too many penalties. They let Winnipeg get all of the momentum. They had an opportunity when they had Winnipeg backed up second and long on their 3. Strevler ran, then they took penalty after penalty. And that crowd and those Winnipeg fans who love this game got into it and they went hard. And you know what? Hey, Winnipeg's got a great defense who kept us in check. So I don't know as much energy. The Riders dug themselves a hole, couldn't get out of it, and let's move on.
They were really dominated in all 3 phases, weren't they? I mean, the Riders' offense couldn't get much going, whereas the Bombers were able to get the running game going with quarterback Chris Strevler. Got it done on defense, making some big plays, and also special teams with the big punt return touchdown. So they were able to handle it all. The other thing too is, and Craig Dickinson mentioned that he was disappointed more that the Riders weren't tough enough. He felt that they lacked the physicality. Like when you allow a team to run all over you like that, that's going to be an issue.
Right off the start, that first drive, they got ran over, right?
Yeah.
Because remember the second play of the game, Strevler was sacked on the 2-yard line.
Yeah.
And then they went down and scored a touchdown. They got ran over from the start.
Yeah, they did, and that was an enormous play. Clearly, I think a lot of the tone was set the week before with Mike O'Shea complaining voraciously about the call or missed call on his long snapper, and I think it gave his team something to rally around. If losing wasn't enough, they also lost a guy, and Mike O'Shea's a special teams guru, and that's his guy.
Yeah. It's an old coaching trick too. Take the attention away from your players, put it on yourself. And he really had them fired up and ready to play for the rematch. But I don't know, Stacey, I think it's a one-off. I don't know that there's too much to worry. It's just one of those games. They'll be ready to play next time.
And I am not jumping off the bandwagon. That's why I picked the Riders to win. I still see a lot of good there. And it's a young team coming together. They made mistakes. I expect bigger things from them this week, and I'm not jumping off the bandwagon.
All right, let's go over some of the other things that happened last week in the CFL. The BC Lions lose again to the Montreal Alouettes, although maybe a little closer than most thought. The BC Lions again showed up to play on the road against the tough Alouettes team. Yeah. Made a game of it.
Well, they've been in some games and they've been blown out of some games. They just haven't won any games.
Yeah. If they got to do something to give Mike Riley an opportunity to do stuff, because that O-line is just not helping him out. And again, when you look at the score, 21-16, they had opportunities, but every time they're in a positive situation, he's throwing the ball from his rear end or he's on his rear end, and that's tough.
Well, they made an improvement by signing former number 1 draft pick Josiah St. John today.
Did they? I hadn't heard that.
Good luck with that one.
They did.
All yours.
They did. Now you're going to see some improvement, huh?
Well,
Yeah, I think BC is, they have a great quarterback, a bad offensive line, and everything else at best is mediocre.
Yeah.
Like they have nothing else to rally around other than the quarterback, and when he can't play,
yeah,
they're done.
yeah.
Elsewhere last week, the Toronto Argonauts come through with their second win of the season, and the thing is, I don't think too many of us are surprised by that. I know that Stacey and I went with the Argos last week. They seem that they have some talent. They can't seem to all put it together. They need more consistent play at quarterback, but they seem to have more talent than the Ottawa Redblacks do.
Sure. Well, you say more consistent, but McLeod Bethel Thompson, he's been over 300 yards in like 5 or 6 straight games. He threw a pick in that game. He hasn't thrown a pick in like 3 or 4 games. He's been solid. I mean, yeah, they're not winning and they need to get some stuff together. But I feel like Toronto's a team that's building something. I don't think it's this year. It's not this year, but
No.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Toronto has a team that's going to get better, and Ottawa doesn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it comes down to the quarterback. McLeod Bethel Thompson looks better certainly than anything the Ottawa can pull out. I mean, Jonathan Jennings. I don't know what's happened to him since that first year. He busted into the league, and
He's on a good team.
5,000 yards.
He's still
and
on a
in the
good
last
team.
couple of years, he's just been terrible.
He had protection. He was on a good team. But, going to this game, and the reason I picked the Argos and I saw it, you go back to that Hamilton game, their emotions got the best of them late in the game. They had guys standing like their kick returner was standing at the goal line shaking his head, visibly upset, and then he took a bad penalty. What that was saying to me, though, they believe they can beat some teams, and they're upset. And in this game, they played like that.
Yeah.
They played with passion, and you know what? They may win a few more.
And that's a mark of a decent team when you have the record you have. They could easily pack it in, fold the tent, instead come out and play hard. That's a mark of a team on the rise, I have to think. Calgary Stampeders complete the sweep of the home and home against the Eskimos. This is where I was wrong last week. I thought the Eskimos, and historically they've been able to come back and win on their home turf. Couldn't get it done. Bo-Levi's on fire.
Bo's back. That's all there. And again, when we're talking about how Toronto's kind of put things together, I think Edmonton in the same way is falling apart. They haven't looked good in about a month now.
And now we don't know the status of Trevor Harris, but he was hurt. If he can't go or is out for any significant period of time, that's going to be even more.
Hey, big challenge for the Riders is you got to start playing great football. You got an opportunity to host a playoff game, because look out. You're right. Bo-Levi Mitchell looked like he hadn't missed a beat. And now you start to look at, is Winnipeg the best team in the league? Well, they got the best defense in the league and the best defense in the West. But the way he was slinging the ball and hitting his receivers, again, against an Edmonton team, so you have to...
Well, I mean, that's not chopped liver. They're not as good as I think many expected them to be, but at the same time, that's still a decent team. It's a rival.
Yep.
Well, I tell you, Calgary, they just look so much different with Bo-Levi at the controls, right, Mike?
Yep, they do. The most significant thing that happened in my game that twigged on me was Brock Sunderland walking through the bench.
Oh, yeah.
And it got a little play on TSN when I was watching the game on TV. But when your general manager comes down and stands on the field partway through the game, that's a moment. Yes, that's a moment. But when he walks through the bench, somebody's got to go.
Normally there. Jim Pop with Toronto is there all the time. Yeah. On the sidelines most of the time.
But somebody's got to go. And is it a player or a coach? I don't know. I'm not telling you Jason Moss is a bad coach. I don't want him as my coach. I don't think he's got the personality to coach. He probably has the skills. He may be a spectacular offensive coordinator. I don't know. But trouble goes where he goes.
Yeah. Right. Well, the team takes on the personality of their head coach.
And there's talent on that Edmonton team.
Sure there is.
Like, there is a lot of talent on that Edmonton team. So I think you raise a great point. What's going on? Now, don't be as bold as Willie. A number of weeks ago where he called for the Edmonton loss and Moss getting fired, because then you might get suspended for a while.
But you know what? That was shocking then. They keep playing like this. I wouldn't be shocked if Moss gets the boot.
Maybe now, but I'm not making that prediction.
We'll see what happens when they play Toronto and BC.
You betcha.
Yeah, they got to do well.
If they lay an
twice
egg in
in a row.
those games.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's look ahead now to this week's action in the Canadian Football League. Welcome again to Woodsy's Weekly Picks. We are at the Lancaster Tap House, as usual, with members of Lancaster Council. Our Minister of Energy, Mike Lee, is over here. Our Council Director from the Regina Pats, Stacey Cattell, also joining us, and our Minister of Ways and Means from the Lancaster Tap House is Tim Rogers. We've already discussed what happened last week. Let's look ahead to this week's game. Starting Friday, the Ottawa Red Blacks in BC to take on the BC Lions. Battle of futility, I would have to think, in this game. Who's going to pull it out, Tim?
Stinker of the week. I think Stacey's getting his coin out.
Okay.
And can we just flip a coin
I
for
saved
everybody?
it.
Can you just flip a coin for me too?
Okay.
Yeah.
Heads, Red Blacks, tails, Lions.
Yeah.
It's tails, Lions.
Tails, Lions.
And you know what? I'm following tails, and I'm following tails, Lions, and here's why. Much like Toronto.
You can't have a reason for flipping a coin. You flip a coin, you flip a coin.
No, I'm agreeing.
God, you gotta
with,
talk.
I'm agreeing with it, though. I'm agreeing with it. Actually, I wasn't going to use the coin. I used it for you because you were
expected a little
stumped.
more analysis. And
Yeah. I flipped the coin for you because I did that last week, and I'm not going this. I'm actually going Lions because, much like Toronto, the Lions have been in some games, and Ottawa is.
Yeah.
They were so disappointing. I was thinking Ottawa because of the defense, giving them a chance, but I flipped the coin and it said Toronto. Their defense wasn't there against Toronto. This might be a game where if the Lions can give Mike Riley an opportunity to do some stuff, they might win the game 16-10. Who
Flip
knows?
the coin and he talks for 3 minutes.
So I'm going Lions.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
You want the coin?
No.
Go ahead.
You want the coin? I only did the coin for you.
Kind of ashamed. I'm also going to pick the Lions for a totally different reason. I think I've mentioned it at this table before. Those teams from the East have to play in Vancouver late.
Yeah.
It's tough. And so
Good call.
rather than picking a winner, I'm going to pick Ottawa to lose. I'm not sure there's a winner in this game.
Well, I was gonna go with the BC Lions as well, but since you guys went with the Lions, I'm gonna go with Ottawa because somebody has to.
Oh,
Do I feel
going on
like
in an
confident
island.
about it? No, I don't really.
The only reason you're doing that.
You think that nobody can pick a blind sweep, can they? We can't pick a blind.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's got to be.
Yeah, good
these
point.
two are so even in terms of
Warren,
utility.
you're wearing Ottawa Red Blacks clothes.
Well, not quite. No,
Pretty
not
close.
quite. I've got the red, and I've
got
got
the
some
plaid
black in
in
there,
there.
but I've also got some green. You like this plaid?
That looks great on you.
I'm good. But you know what,
There you go.
Woodsy, you also can't get booted, so you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's my show.
You can go over, and you're not getting booted.
I'm only going Ottawa because you guys went with the Lions.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I like your pick, and I like your reason. All right, Saturday, the Hamilton Tiger Cats in Calgary to play the Stampeders. The Cats playing okay in the East. Now they've got to play that juggernaut, the Calgary Stampeders, who are so hot coming into this game with Bo-Levi and Mitchell. Stacey, who do you got?
Is this a Willie zoom in moment? Zoom in. Stamps. Come on, I'm just pulling your leg. Stamps. There. I'm impressed. Bo-Levi is taking control of that team again, and Stamps all the way.
Mike.
Yeah, I got to pick the Stamps, and it's kind of boring, but the Stamps are top echelon in the league. Winnipeg will be again next week. Hamilton is not top echelon right now. They were with Masoli, and now they're not. And so they can't win in Calgary.
I have to take Calgary as well, and the Stampeders have just shown that with Bo-Levi at the controls, they are an entirely different team. There seems to be a bit more swagger on that team with Mitchell at the controls, and they're certainly showing it in these last two games that they've got some mojo going, and against the Tiger Cats, so I think a very good team. And by the way, what are they, 9-2? Best record in the league right now. But a lot of those wins have been coming up against the East. Now they're going to be playing some Western competition and good Western competition. I think the Calgary Stampeders might be the team that you would fear most.
I would.
Into the second half of the season. I'm going to Stampeders.
I'm going with the Ticats. because I feel like they want to take that next step, and I feel like this is a game they've had on their calendar to take that next step. So I don't know that they're going to win, but I'm going to pull for the Ticats on this one, and I want to see them win.
Is this a bit of a trap game for Calgary after beating Edmonton twice?
I don't know about a
Perhaps.
trap, but
Quick turnaround too, you know.
Yeah.
I guess they
They kind of had their fun for 2 weeks, and now they can rest going into a game and get
And the
smoked.
Cats are coming off a bye week, right?
Yeah.
And they got 2 sets of game film on Bo-Levi Mitchell now. So can they stop them? Don't know. Just remember, they still have an injury in the backfield. Hopefully they won't lose 2 guys in a game to suspensions, but we'll see. I still think Bo-Levi is on and healthy.
Yeah.
All right, our final game. It's the second part of the doubleheader on Saturday. The Montreal Alouettes in town to take on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Now, you looked at the schedule at the beginning of the year and you went, look, this is the free space on the bingo card. It is not anymore. I still think the Riders are going to pull it out at home. They'll be angry after what happened in the Banjo Bowl, but I think this is going to be a slugfest. And again, I'm expecting a very close game. The Montreal Alouettes have taken on a new personality. Speaking of mojo, I think they've got a little going for them with since Kahari Jones has taken over. But I think the Riders are still the better team, and they're going to pull it out at home. Let's go with Tim.
game of the week. I think.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, the Ticats, there's only 3. Ticats and Stamps is going to be a great game, but this is the game of the week. These 2 teams, I think, are in this exact, maybe they don't evenly matched up, but they're in the same spot where they were expected to be underachievers. They're overachieving. They're not overachieving. They're both playing really, really well, beyond what anyone expected to. They got a lot of mojo going. I think this is going to be, they're going to go at it. This is going to be a slobber knocker. I'm going to take the Riders. Yeah, I'm going to take the Riders.
Okay, Stacey.
I'm not jumping off the bandwagon. And now, the thing that I was thinking about, if this was back-to-back games against the Owls and the rain delay and losing the game, the Owls would have come here with a really mean attitude. That was a few games ago. And the Owls haven't been as offensively proficient as they were early on. So again, game film, defenses are starting to get used to how do you play against Montreal. And the other thing why I'm picking the Riders, they were owly and they were held to task after they got blown out against Calgary, right? And our coaches had them prepared. So they got their rear ends handed to them in Winnipeg. They'll be a better team come Saturday.
Right?
I've said before, I'll say again, I will pick the Riders unless I have a reason not to. I don't have a reason not to. My reasons too, I think they are a little better than Montreal. They're at home. And I think last week's game gave their coaching staff lots of coaching moments.
Yep.
Like, I don't
Great
think
point.
film was much fun for the Riders this week.
No.
I hope not.
No question about that. You know, you go back and Stacey makes a good point about the weather delay and how the Alouettes might be still angry about what happened against the Riders in that game. That being said, there was no guarantee that the Alouettes were going to win that game.
Nope.
It's not like they were playing all that great anyway.
Nope.
And it wasn't the Riders' idea to call the game,
No.
which their coach will hopefully gloss over for Montreal, but the Riders didn't go petition someone. That was the rule.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I think so. We're unanimous on that one. Saskatchewan will win on Saturday. Another big event coming up. We want to mention this before we go. October 27th, it is the Prairie Classic as the Regina Pats will take on the Calgary Hitmen outdoors at Mosaic Stadium. It is going to be the day after the Heritage Classic between the Jets and the Flames. And Stacey, this is pretty exciting, and you know, it should be an interesting event. Junior hockey could use something like this.
Well, and you know, it's super exciting for us because we did try in our 100th anniversary season to do this, and just economically and the time of year we chose, it just didn't resonate with fans. Well, we're playing right after the big game. It's the end of October. It's going to be a great day, and we're just excited. And we're really excited the fact that we can make this at a level where everybody can come to it. $18.50 for a ticket for general seating. That's absolutely awesome. You can come and see a great game in the best outdoor stadium in Canada, and Mosaic Stadium. And you know, you have to think about it. Not a lot of people have actually had an opportunity to go see anything at Mosaic Stadium because certain games are more expensive or they're limited
Concerts are
capacity,
expensive.
whatever. And so to have a junior hockey game and it's right on the cusp of hockey leagues are starting. Like I was talking to Blair Watson of Hockey Regina, they'll be just up and going. So people will be really plugged into our season, which starts September 20th. And we're just looking for a great afternoon of hockey and being able to participate in the Heritage Classic weekend.
Tickets on sale now?
You betcha they are. Go to ticketmaster.ca. You can buy as many as you want. So we're excited, and it's going to be a great day.
I'm going to cut in. I think it shouldn't be underestimated, the affordability of this game. I'm not trying to pump your tires, but this is an elite event for less than $20.
Well, you're charging junior hockey prices for
Absolutely.
a regular season game
Yeah.
to Cedar Regina Pat. So it's not like it's going to be an inflated price because you're playing outdoors at Mosaic Stadium.
Well, and hopefully some of the Calgary fans in town want to come back and create a little atmosphere. That'd be spectacular.
That would be great.
We just hope hockey fans, from Winnipeg, Calgary, wherever they're coming. And that game on Saturday, the NHL's done a great job, is sold out. So we're hoping some of those people stick around for this as well.
All right, well, that's a big event coming up on October 27th, and of course, lots of football to talk about between now and then. A reminder that the Riders are home to the Alouettes on Saturday. Our next pre- and post-game show from the Lancaster Tap House coming to you September 28th when the Riders are in Toronto to face the Argonauts. The kickoff for that game is at 5 o'clock. The Green Zone pre-game show starts at 3. This is now your opportunity to win the VIP experience. Go to cjme.com, click on contest, follow the links, put your name in, and hopefully you get one of the VIP tables. Lots of fun down here. We've got food, plenty of bevies.
Beer.
Of course, prizes brought to you by Coors Light, the official beer of the Green Zone. We have a whole lot of fun going on here at the Lancaster each and every game, but particularly when the Riders are on the road. So we hope you can join us then. I'm Warren Woods for members of Lancaster Council. Have yourselves a good week. We'll talk to you next time.
And it's a hee-haw coming down the plains, stealing wheat and barley and all the other grain. And it's a hi, farmers by your doors. When you see the Jolly Roger on Regina's mighty shores. When you see the Jolly Roger on Regina's mighty shores.